I don't have a firm number for how many different air units, ground units, et cetera, were deployed to the region. All I know is it was in the tens of thousands. So they didn't all get there in one day or 1 week or 1 month. It took a couple of months buildup. And this one, I'm told by those who are involved with flying out of there, it's going to take a couple of months to get everybody out. But as long as they're in the process of going out in reverse, they're not going to be stepping up attacks on Iran to provoke them to get the whole war restarted. I don't see the whole war restarting right now.
Let's put it this way, Larry. The MOU is some sort of steps that they have to take before getting any sort of agreement. So
Correct.
those steps, they have to implement all those clauses in the MOU. While they're not doing this, by the way, the first clause has been, even with the Iranian frozen assets, and they're talking nothing of the Iranian frozen asset has been released yet.
Correct.
This is the violation of clause number 11.
Well, yeah, okay, read. You got 11 there open in front of you?
Yeah.
Read it,
please.
please.
Let me just bring it on here. Yeah. Number 11. It's the U.S. undertakes to make fully available for use the frozen and restricted funds of Iran upon the implementation of this MOU. The United States and Iran will mutually agree on the procedure related to the release of these funds during the negotiations.
Right. So did it say on day one when we signed it, when Donald Trump signs it, you have to release it? Nope, didn't say that.
Nothing.
It left it
vague,
very vague.
Yeah.
So it says you can't. How can you violate something that's vague?
No. So this is
okay. This is why. If you're going to write that and say, and you want your frozen assets released, if Iran was dead ass serious about it, it should have said, okay, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days from the signature of this MOU, the United States will release 100%, 80%, 50% of the funds that are frozen. That's how it should have been written, something like that. And I was said after signing this agreement that the United States is obligated to produce 25% of the funds by June 20th. The additional 50% of the funds is due to be released by July 1st, and the remainder will be released on July 7th. Okay, simple. But they didn't do that, so it's Iran's own fault that they didn't get more specific language in there.
Yeah, but they're not trying to achieve that. There is no, with the case of the Strait of Hormuz, the way they're trying to force this UK, I don't know, this organization in UK that is giving the path, the routes in the Persian Gulf to be used, and they're giving false information to the tankers, to the ships. That's why that was one of the main reasons.
Who's giving? You mean the United States?
No, United Kingdom.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're not even a signatory to the agreement. They're just trying to screw things up.
Yeah.
Hey.
Because maybe these tankers didn't know which route is correct, which one is they can use this.
No, no. They knew that the protocol is file your application with the IRGC and then follow the directions of the IRGC. Instead, they decided we're going to follow the United Kingdom in the West. We're going to tell the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Command to go screw off, which they did. And then they've now discovered the consequences for telling them to screw off. And what are those consequences? They got shot at, and then they got turned around.
No. Here is, Larry, what Mike Waltz said, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, about the Strait of Hormuz.
Point on that. That's not just the United States. That's the entire.
Yeah, let me just, it seems.
More point on that. That's not just the United States. That's the entire international community. A UN record, 143 nations have agreed with us that this is in violation of international law. Even the Chinese government has said you cannot be taking tolls or fees. Iran was apparently relying on Oman across the waterway to help it set up this new infrastructure. And now Oman, just yesterday, has rejected the idea of tolls or fees. So they're completely isolated here. President Trump's not going to stand for it. And meanwhile, we continue to move ships out by the dozens every day. And world oil prices are not just stable, they're dropping. So Iran's attempt to hold the world hostage and their economies hostage are completely failing.
Yeah.
That's just a big lie. It's an absolute flat out lie. Dozens of ships. The ships that have moved out of the Persian Gulf have come out under basically ships that are headed to Asia, and they are carrying Iranian oil. That's it. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the real-time marinetraffic.com. Everybody is welcome. Go pull that up, take a look.
Yeah.
The last ship to come out was apparently is either an Iraqi or Iranian ship called the Kemba or called the Neshat. And its destination says is Kemba. Let me look that up.
Yeah, here is the photo, Larry, that shows, compares, for example, June 26th, 2 days ago. You see the passage of these ships in the Strait of Hormuz. It's something like 40, 50 tankers a day, something like that.
Yeah, no, it's
see that they said it's not even comparable to what it was in June.
Yeah, it's not even close.
No.
And so Iran has effectively closed the strait.
Yeah, that's they're trying to say that. I think the whole process of negotiation is part of this sort of scam of manipulating the market. Because where are we with the MOU, Larry? Just to be honest, before MOU been signed and today, what is the difference?
It's been violated. So they're going to continue. They've still got areas to negotiate with. The only thing that we, look at it from Iran's standpoint. What has Iran gotten out of this? One, the U.S. has lifted its blockade. Two, the U.S. Navy is no longer actively trying to stop or shoot at Iranian ships. Three, Iran can sell oil to whoever it wants. Four, Iran's getting money via Saudi Arabia and Qatar, $12 billion that the United States is supposed to pay, and those countries say, "Look, we'll front you the money here, we'll give it to you." So I think Iran's actually in a pretty good position right now. It's the United States that's desperately trying to figure out, what do we do?
Here is the concern. Here is the footage that shows how the United States is sending a lot of weapons to the region. Larry, it shows, let me bring, you see Friday, June 19th. You see the traffic?
Okay, how do you know they're bringing weapons, and how do you know they're not withdrawing personnel?
But how many personnel do they have in the region? It's all about, you see, they all go to the Persian Gulf.
For 2 months, they've only issued the initial order to start withdrawing personnel. They're going to be withdrawing personnel, aircraft and personnel on the ground for 2 months. That's how many they got over there. It's an enormous amount. So we've got no evidence that those planes that are inbound are carrying more troops and more weapon systems. I think it's just the opposite. They're going back to the United States.
Do you think that these people who are removing from the Middle East, where do they go? Are they sending them to? Because let me just bring. They're going up to Europe.
Yeah.
If I'm not
Well, look,
mistaken.
they're coming from the United States. I can't tell from that if those are fully loaded aircraft bringing new supplies, new equipment, new weapons, or if they're basically, maybe bringing food, but then taking personnel and weapons out when they depart.
Yeah. Last night we thought that they're using the air bases in Jordan to attack Iran. They could use the aircraft carriers in the Indian Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times do they have to refuel to get to the Iranian border? 2 times?
Well, if they take off from Jordan or Israel, yeah, at least 2 times.
Yeah, because it's the distance is significant. From the Indian Sea getting to the Iranian border is far away. Compared to Jordan. Jordan is close to the Iranian border.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
The
no,
other
Jordan. Did you say Jordan's close to the Iranian border?
Yeah, compared to the Indian
No,
Sea.
well, it's about no, not really. I mean,
Let me
it's about 800 miles.
Yeah, let me just bring the map, because my understanding is this: the Arabian Sea, then go to the Indian Ocean. It's far away Indian Ocean compared to Jordan. And let me just bring the map here to see what is the difference. Yeah. Look here, you have Jordan. Larry, you see Jordan here, and to the Persian Gulf. And
Okay.
when it comes to let me just, Indian Ocean is here. You see this line, and
Yeah.
see,
Right.
it's far away. The Jordan is so close to the Iranian border. If they decide to go from Jordan to the Iranian border to do these attacks.
Well, they've been going Jordan through Iraq and the attack. So they've been going up to Armenia, Azerbaijan, coming down from there.
Yeah, they have to use at least Iraq, because the attacks, Larry, were here in this part. You see here.
Right.
In this part. So to get here let's go flying on Iraq. And they're not going to they have to go on Persian Gulf, which is too dangerous, in my opinion, to use that route. And they have to come from Jordan on Saudi Arabia and then Oman or maybe UAE to attack those areas.
They're going to fly through Jordan and through Iraq.
Yeah. Jordan, Iraq. But if they go to Iraq, are they going to have access to this part of Iran that were attacked basically during the war, during these attacks the last 2 nights?
Yeah, they can.
They have to stay here, and it's far away from.
No, they don't have to stay there. They could have flown into the Persian Gulf from the south. I mean, from the north, heading south.
But if they use the Persian Gulf, they're going to get hit by the air defense system, to my understanding.
Whose air defense system?
Iranian air defense system close to the Persian Gulf.
Right. Yeah. True.
That's why I think they have used the airspace of Saudi Arabia, then UAE, maybe Oman, to get to that part to attack Iran.
Well, what's clear is if the United States is drawing out its assets, Iran's ability to launch unilateral attacks against Iran are going to be very limited. And that That I think will be completed within an hour. You know, they start it, and so they'll be making significant progress within an hour and a half.
I think, Larry, with following the Iranian media, those people, there are people who are not happy with the situation, with the MOU, with ongoing talks, because they say we don't need to talk with the United States. The other side that wants to communicate with the United States, they feel that the situation is not, is not going to end well for the United States. The United States is not going to, continue these sort of attacks in a long run. That's their understanding. And because if you go with this game of tit for tat, and you have to stay in the region, and there is no way of staying in the region not using the airspace of these countries that we've just seen.
Right.
So how do you see, you believe that the United States is removing the personnel, removing the weapons?
The orders to do that have been issued. So the way with those orders, people, the specific units are told they have to put together a plan, an exit plan, if you will, when they're going to leave, how they're going to be refueled, where they're going to be refueled, how long will the trip take. It may take upwards of, since there's no urgency, upwards of 36, 48 hours.
Lebanon, Larry, you wanted to talk about Lebanon. I just cut you out because I wanted to focus on the Strait of Hormuz. But getting to Lebanon, here are the points in that agreement between Lebanon and Israel. The first point is Israel declares no territorial ambition in Lebanon while staying exactly where it is until it unilaterally signs on disarmament. This is the first part. And the second part says U.S. military aid to the Lebanese army comes strictly conditioned on milestones Washington sets and grades. I don't know what is the meaning of humiliation. I would say this is literally these guys are crazy. Who did they read?
Well, which guys are crazy? The Iranians?
Lebanese.
Oh, the Lebanese
government. Yeah, I'm talking about Lebanese government.
Yeah, Aoun's a minority Christian faction. So Aoun is doing it to curry favor with the United States. It's that simple. But it does not have the support of the majority of the population, which happens to be either Sunni or Shia Muslim. And many of the Muslims I've talked to that are Lebanese or coming out of that milieu, they're not like you. We're tired of this war. We're not interested to see if we can continue. We just, we'd like to get it stopped. So you're looking at the prospect for a Lebanese civil war. What Aoun signed on to does not have support of the Iranian people or
Lebanese people.
the Lebanese people, and Hezbollah is certainly not on board.
Yeah. No.
So it's just it's one of these that people are making a big deal about an agreement that's basically theoretical. Okay, there's no teeth to it. Yeah. The teeth are all required to come from, the Lebanese government's going to do X, Y, and Z, and yet they've already sold out their sovereignty to Israel. And that's this, Christian faction that's part of the government.
Yeah. It says that the U.S. government decides about the military aid to the Lebanese army. The way it, decides, it doesn't have anything to do with Lebanon. The United States decides about everything when it comes to military aid. They didn't mention what type of military aid that would be. Are they going to receive air defense system? Are they going to receive tanks? Are they going to receive heavy weaponry?
They're going to get F-35 jets, I'm sure. Of course, I'm making fun of the fact that the U.S. Air Force admitted last week that the readiness out of every 100 F-35s that have been built, only 25 to 30 are actually ready to go fly missions. And the last 6 that were delivered without the radar and the nose cone. So let's apply that to Lebanon now. And whatever the United States is promising in terms of military equipment, is not even clear that the U.S. can actually supply it. There's we'll gladly give you a hamburger next Tuesday if you just give us the money today. And, the Lebanese are looking around going, why would we want to do that? And these sectarian neighborhoods, they're not going to give up on this either, no matter how much the government of Lebanon wants to try to crack down on.
The first clause simply legitimizing Israeli occupation of Lebanon. The second one is about U.S. military aid to Lebanon. It doesn't specify, it doesn't mention what sort of the aid that would be. Nothing. And it says, it says Washington sets and grades the milestones of, the agreement.
All that means is to be determined.
To be determined, which nothing. Basically nothing. They're going to give some sort of rifles, I would say, some sort of arms, light arms, and nothing of the air defense system, nothing, fighter jets, nothing. They're going to get nothing. I don't know what is,
Yeah.
Then the third clause is that Lebanon and the United States jointly commit to financially strangling any group tied to the resistance. So again, the government in Lebanon cooperating with the United States to put pressure on the acts of resistance. Basically, they're talking about Hezbollah because no one else is there. They're talking about Hezbollah.
The irony is this agreement signed between Lebanon and Israel certainly smacks of the agreement that Neville Chamberlain signed with Hitler. Look great on paper. Oh my God, we're gonna have peace in our time, and next thing you know, it becomes the casus belli for war, or one of the causes belli.
Yeah. The reconstruction money, they're talking about the reconstruction of Lebanon. Reconstruction money kept on a separate, slower track from the military conditions, so Beirut disarm first and waits to get paid. This is basically nothing burger for Lebanon.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. It's like, hey, you make all the sacrifice up front. We promise you, we pinky swear, we'll pay you. Then time comes to get paid, they'll say, oh, well, you did X, Y, and Z. You don't deserve the money. That's how it's getting handled.
Yeah. Occupation, military aid, nothing. Putting pressure on Hezbollah, and no reconstruction without disarming Hezbollah. It's all about disarmament of Hezbollah. Just look at all of them. It's focused on disarmament of Hezbollah. That's not going to happen, and they're not going to achieve anything, I think, with the agreement, the United States and Israelis, to my understanding.
No, I agree. I think it's a meaningless agreement at this point.
The question right now would be, is Hezbollah going to somehow back down on the attacks in the northern part of Israel, or the attacks on Israeli forces, in that area under the yellow line?
Well, let's recognize part of it. Israel, my understanding is Israel for 30 years, 40 years has always held a part of that territory in the yellow line as a buffer zone. So how much they have to withdraw from that remains to be seen. But there's going to have to be a significant, Iran's going to press for the significant withdrawal. I think we need to, unless I miss something in the news, the fact that the United States has backed down today and not followed up the retaliation. And part of that is, I think, because the ships are no longer trying to, force their way through the strait. And that activity right now is pretty low. There's an Iraqi ship it says Bandar Abbas OPL, but there's really nothing going out of the strait from the biggest part of the Persian Gulf, and very little coming in too from the south. So it's not a lot of activity.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw what is happening last night in Iraq. There were a lot of weapons. They're moving around. The prime
described
minister,
like a coup attempt, right?
It wasn't a coup. It was they were with the case of corruption in Iraq. They were trying to detain those people connected or in this sort of network of corruption in Iraq. It wasn't about some sects within the Iraqi governments, or because
Right.
those people who were detained, they were Shia, Sunni all together. It was a huge network, but they detained something like 16 people, high-ranked people. And it was all about the green zone in Iraq. Because the green zone is those areas that you have the embassies, you have the apartment buildings and houses of officials, high-rank officials. And many people thought that is a coup happening but it was the prime minister of Iraq going after the corruption together with the